I'm Andrzej. I'm a solution designer at Motivate. Been around the gamification industry since about 2011, and I've been a regular speaker at these kind of things. So thank you very much to Pete for constantly inviting me back. Crazy, crazy man. Been involved in research projects. I've published books, one of which I will be giving away later for the best question. Even Ninja Monkeys like to play Unicorn Edition. I'm also known for my kind of interest in user types and understanding behaviors of people within systems. Today, I'm going to talk about loyalty, something which is really connected to gamification. And as Will was talking about there, there's some stuff that we can really learn and use in loyalty and marketing with gamification. And I want to focus on kind of people-centric design. And how that can be used to really push forwards some serious business objectives and how that really fits into our new kind of world. A little bit about the company, obviously, have to talk a little bit about us. We are a kind of diverse team spread out between UK and Spain, made up of psychologists, gamification experts, graphics designers, UX designers, different skills, marketeers. And the idea is that we're kind of using all of that to tackle some of these challenges, really believing in the fact that we shouldn't be using quick fixes. We're looking for sort of long-term behavior change with everything that we do. We're trying to make engagement that's going to last, which with loyalty is incredibly important. So with that in mind, let's think about loyalty for a second and how it's evolving. And I mean, brands today are really fighting for consumer attention, especially in this really odd kind of universe we're currently living in, where online is becoming one of the most important ways of engaging with any kind of brand. And we need to try and increase retention, advocacy, and spend. At the end of the day, that's what we're really trying to aim for, is people spending more with companies to allow them to maintain business. And successful loyalty programs got to develop beyond this transactional relationship. And Will, again, really set the foundations of this while he was talking. It's not just about points. It's not just about incentives. Data needs to be shared in different ways now. You can't just reward people constantly for spending, because at the moment, especially, sort of spur of the moment spending can be a little bit awkward. They're not walking through shops as much and doing things like that. Customer first experiences are essential. And as that builds into this value proposition that we hear so often. And the businesses that are going to thrive and that we've seen thriving, the ones that have this more holistic approach to customer experiences rather than just loyalty on its own, with seamless and meaningful, joining the words together there, interactions that allow customers to engage with the brand in the way they want to, how they want to, and when they want to. Which brings me to a little case study. Tendam. Now, if you're in the UK, you won't have heard of Tendam, probably. However, across 90 other countries with 2,000 points of sales, they're quite a large fashion retailer in the premium mass market segments of marketing. And they bring together Corte Fiel, Springfield, Women's Secrets, Pedro del Huero, I think is how you say that, and 50. And they have, so there's multiple brands under one huge umbrella. And when we took over the existing loyalty scheme about 4 years ago, the aim was to develop a kind of a flexible and scalable, secure and reliable customer engagement solution. But we wanted to put the customer first because it has to be user-centric. Everything has to be user-centric now. And focusing on what the kind of customer actually wanted, as well as the business objectives, obviously, of the brands. So we added kind of 5 brands to this. We're now up to 4 apps. There are more things happening, obviously. Each of them have a loyalty club providing Personalized offers, personalization being incredibly important, created in real time across multiple channels. And it's a unique experience because it creates a really, as I said before, this holistic view of the customer. They get discount vouchers, they get loyalty points. Actually, one of my favorite examples of how it's customer first is actually we have, as well as the vouchers and all these sorts of things, when they get to the till, it actually works out the best possible discount they can get from all the various options and offers that are available to them. So they don't just have to present a voucher. It actually goes, oh no, you've actually got all of these discounts you could have, which I think from a customer's perspective is fantastic because it means that it really feels like you're the center of that experience. It's not just, oh, here's a voucher for something. It is award nominated because it has, it has this kind of really user-centric view, but also has really good back-end promotion management, insight and analytics, and it's something that allows us to continually drive innovation with the client. And it is very successful. Now, to back that up, which I think I have to when I say something very successful, it has over 27 million users registered on it, which is pretty big, and I'll explain how big that is in a second. It's running 200 transactions per day, which with Black Friday coming up, I thought was an interesting kind of sideline. Over Black Friday, we look at something like 500,000 transactions, not 200. This translates to 12 transactions per second across those 2,000 contact points. And to give a little context to kind of 27 million users, if you take Starbucks and Tesco's loyalty schemes and add them together, you get about 27 million users. So it's pretty big, and it is, we're happy to say, incredibly successful, and the client is obviously very happy. So that's kind of the foundation of what loyalty is currently, what we're doing with it. There's also a lot more developments going on, but 10 Dams is this really nice kind of example of, here's a really solid example of just loyalty and how it can be customer centric. But obviously this is a gamification conference, so I can't not talk about gamification. So why would you add gamification? So at the moment, 30% of companies using gamification have seen an improved conversion rate on registrations of up to 50%. I like that stat. It's a simple stat we can all hand over to a CEO of a company. Increase your conversion rates by 50%. There. When you look at loyalty, something which I found really interesting when I was doing my research for this was that 63% of loyalty members say that if they enjoy the experience, they're going to use it more. Now, obviously, gamification, we're looking to change behaviors, but gamification can be about fun. And anyone who's ever seen one of my talks will know I don't talk about fun very often. 75% of loyalty members would say they'll stop using a loyalty service, a loyalty scheme, if they felt service was poor. Now, gamification is not just about changing customer behaviors, it's about changing any behavior you want to change. So gamification can be integrated into the learning materials that you deliver to the client's employees to try and change their behaviors and create better customer experiences by creating better customer service. And 70% of consumers feel it's important that brands uphold values that they have an emotional attachment to. And we talk about emotional attachment a lot at Motivate because it's something we feel takes something beyond just that transactional experience. Of course, gamified experiences can be used to educate end users, to educate customers as to what brand values a company may hold dear to them, but also to gather information about what those values may mean to the customer. And when we're considering gamification and loyalty, we're looking at really kind of this personalized bit, the brand values, fun, and exclusivity, because exclusive offers always feel that little bit better. And we start with a very simple framework that you may have seen, RAMP. So we always start a lot of our projects looking at RAMP because it's just a really simple way of looking at core motivations: relatedness, autonomy, mastery, and purpose. If you're in the gamification industry, you've used these in some way, so I won't explain to you what they are. But if we focus on these four for a second and how they might be used. So the first one, relatedness, which appears to have got the wrong way around. So I shall bring this all up as it goes. This slide has had some issues. So if we think about relatedness as people and teams and creating groups, one of the things that we do a lot of is this idea of member get member. So if you want to encourage more people to use the service or the loyalty scheme or the retailer, personal advocacy is really, really important, because people will trust a friend more than a review. You just have to look at all of the issues that Amazon are having with kind of fake reviews happening, and you'll see that people are beginning to trust each other more than they are the online services. So the idea of creating related groups, member get members, something that Tendam does, something that allows you to create teams that can also interact directly within the loyalty scheme can be really important as well. So relatedness is massive. Autonomy, create choice. You know, people want to interact in their own ways. So create choice about how they're able to interact. So are they using their computer? Are they using their phone? Are they using their watch? Are they in the store? But also give them choice about what the reward scheme gives them if they're just getting straight rewards. You know, this is the difference between a single person living on their own with no children being offered nappies as their reward for something, or maybe pizza for one, which used to happen a lot in loyalty schemes, you know, especially just the ones that just sent out generic vouchers to everyone. So autonomy and personalization go really closely. Tiers and levels where it should be under mastery. One of the things that we've seen in loyalty schemes, and when I'm doing my research about these sorts of things, that's really, really powerful and helps create exclusivity are tiers within a scheme. So that the more loyal someone is, the more they interact with the organization, the more offers become available to them. VIP schemes are very popular. So do they get better discounts? Do they get exclusive offers? Are there things that they can only get if they're at level 10 of the loyalty scheme, for instance? And then something that I think is undervalued, but is being looked at a lot, and I know Tendam are looking at things around this as well, and there are lots of people looking at this now, is this corporate values, and how when you look at purpose, we're looking at what creates that connection at emotional levels to the brand. And some of that can be what those values are. Are they sustainable? Do they give to charity? So when you're looking at your reward schemes, what about allowing some of those rewards to be converted to charitable donations, to giving to food banks? The world we're living in at the moment, we all need charity. Either we need to give to charity or we need to receive charity, because that's just what we're dealing with at the moment. So allow members to choose what happens with their rewards. Doesn't just have to be financial gain to them the whole time. So that's RAMP, and that I think is a really nice sort of central point to start with. But of course, there's lots more to it. And so a few ideas around game thinking itself. And the first one seems really obvious, and Will was talking about it earlier. Games. You know, games can create a buzz. They can create attractive environments for people. They can teach critical messages. You know, when I look at my kids learning, so much of it's done through gameplay now. It's fun, it's engaging. They can go viral. They also don't need to have to be completely separate to the reward systems. So you don't just have to slap a game on it to be interesting and viral. Those games can then build into the rewards, which I'll talk about a little bit in a moment. Reward schedules. So when we're building games and gamified experiences, we often talk about reward schedules, we talk about engagement loops and these kind of things. Reward schedules are important because some of it needs to be something that can be predicted. You need to kind of think about, when I do this, I get this. But things like special occasions, why not celebrate them? Why not give somebody an extra discount because it's their wedding anniversary or it's their birthday? The number of forums that I belong to that I'm reminded of my subscription to on my birthday, when they go, hi, it's your birthday, why not come back and go to our forum? When I registered on it maybe a dozen years ago, is quite outstanding, and it's something that's been done for years and years and years, but it's still something I don't see much in loyalty schemes. And when you're collecting data and when you're creating systems that allow you to collect that data, these are important dates to people, their birthdays, their wedding anniversaries, Christmas, anything like that, where you think you can back to them. It's very, very valuable to that user. And it doesn't have to be predictable. Random rewards can be amazing. They're kind of this, we talk about surprise and delight within gamification a lot, and random rewards can be fantastic. You know, I see a lot of schemes where you go to the till and maybe your entire shopping is bought for you by the credit card you used. How amazing would that feel, that sort of week's shop has been given to you by the credit card holder or by the retailer themselves? So that kind of random reward can be very alluring. It can also be something you have to be a little bit careful with. You can't sort of bribe people and keep them on the hook on the off chance they might get a reward. They have to see those rewards occasionally, so don't make them too random. Onboarding. You need to educate people as to what the scheme's about. And again, in games and gamification, we talk about onboarding all the time because it's so important. So why do loyalty schemes often not do that? They just give you a card and say, go and get some points. So creating systems where people know what to expect, they know how to play the game of loyalty as you've set it out, is really important, because it just means that there's no unwanted surprises later on with how the scheme works. And a favourite of mine, curiosity, and this kind of goes a bit hand in hand with random rewards, I suppose, as well. Give people something to discover. Don't just spoon feed them the whole time. Mysteries. Everyone loves to solve a mystery. Everyone loves to go on treasure hunts, especially when they're kids. You know, I remember going to toy shops and they'll give you a little sheet and you'll have to go around different parts of the shop to find all of the various say pumpkins or something at Halloween. And what that would do is it will get you to move around parts of the shop you hadn't been to before. So that curiosity and that kind of that feeling of mystery led you to areas of the shop where you might go, oh, I didn't know I wanted that, but now I do. YouTube is full of people opening mystery bags and kind of blind bags. My kids watch umpteen videos, or used to, of people opening shopkins just because they wanted to see what was in there, let alone buying them themselves. So it's a really strong kind of pull. Again, though, as with random rewards, you know, it needs to be used with caution. Loot boxes are something that come to mind where there have been some bad experiences of people feeling that loot boxes felt a bit too much like gambling. So be very transparent about how the mechanics are going to be used and what they're going to do, and use them sparingly, because curiosity and mystery is only curious and mysterious if it's used sparingly. So they're 5 of my favorite kind of things to look at within loyalty schemes around gamification. So what could loyalty look like? And this is the last slide. So I want to leave you with this question. So what is it going to look like in the future? Does it have to be something that we just engage with at the point of purchase? Can it be something which is more than just a visual representation of a scoreboard? Because if that's all you give them, that's all they're going to go to for it. So could it be more game-like? Could loyalty look like an evolving ecosystem where people's scores unlock new parts of the ecosystem and allow them to engage with it outside of the shop? Could it unlock new things that are only available to you if you play the game? New accessories for outfits, new colors? Could it allow you to create your own outfits using the points you've earned, using the experience you've got, using your tiers? And could those actions that you do within shops, with online and with your points, lead to real world benefits? Planting trees, donating food, that kind of thing, where it's just beyond that transactional, I get something for doing something. Because keep in mind, if you want people to engage with your brand, you need to offer them something that is engaging. So my question to you is, what could loyalty look like in the future? And that's me.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed, Andre. That was a really excellent tour. I think we learned a lot about loyalty there. And I can't have any of my own questions because we've got so many in the chat. So guys, we've got 3 minutes now for some quick fire questions. So Andre, if you can answer these as quickly as possible, we'll get through them as quickly as possible. All right. So first up, do you think member gets member causes fraud cases?
Not that I've seen. I can understand why it might do, but I think it's you've got to just monitor these sorts of things. So just keep in mind that people need to look at this, not just data analysts, real people. Not that data analysts aren't real people. I am one, but you know. So yes, it could do, but I haven't seen it. Thankfully, you've got to be on top of it.
Okay, and you've been around since the beginning of gamification.
Oh my God, the grey hairs! I heard
the
them.
Pyramids, effectively. I think Moses and
Methuselah then big.
Yeah, number of bricks per slave. I think was probably the beginning of gamification. But since you weren't probably around that long, but since you have been around, what's the best feature or creative tweak you've seen?
Getting games involved more than just mechanics, I think, is probably the best thing I've seen in the last few years. People actually building things that felt more like games than just reward systems.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what is this? Do you have any kind of thoughts around this whole question about sort of gamification fatigue? I mean, is it something that is, for you, is it something that's long-term, or do you think that participants might get tired of all the tasks that you're giving them, that gamifiers are giving their players?
I think people do get tired of it. I think you do feel that fatigue. I know I have done with a lot of loyalty schemes. It's why you need to keep creating new content, new ideas, and making it a bit more kind of user-focused. I think the big key to all of it is use it as and when you feel necessary and keep speaking to your members. Find out what they're thinking, not just what you're thinking.
Charity loyalty, is there something we can do that can be done for increasing regular giving through gamification?
It's a very, very long conversation that I'll take offline with you, but you can do it. It's just, it's a lot more about that emotional attachment rather than just rewarding giving. So if I can find you on the speed thingy, we'll have a chat about that later.
That's Jennifer Lyle. So if you want to connect.
That's a big topic.
Great.
So yeah.
Sounds interesting. Well, we'll finish on this one because you need to award a prize for your book. So Rob has asked, was mentoring the book an incentive for loyalty, extrinsic motivation, or something else, all of the above, or something more?
It was absolutely a bribe to get people in that Q&A section. So totally with you. It was a bribe. I will have a look at the questions after this, and I'll say who's won in a bit.
Great.
I'll let Toby know later.
Well, yes, that's right. Well, probably best to do it via Pete, I think, because he.
I'll go through Pete then, yeah.
Addresses and all the rest of it. So that's fantastic. Well, thank you very much indeed, Andre. Big round of applause from us, and thank you in the chat.